Hello everyone, welcome to the Lang Focus channel, and my name is Paul. Today we're going to focus on a language called Catalan. Catalan is a member of the Occitano-Romance branch of the Romance language family. It's mainly spoken in and around Catalonia, an autonomous community in Spain, as well as in another autonomous community, the Balearic Islands, and also in the autonomous community of Valencia. But some people will definitely dispute that. Many members of the Valencian community will insist that they speak a separate language called Valencian. Others, including most linguists, simply consider Valencian to be a collection of Catalan dialects.
Warning, abandoned topic. Abandoned topic. The comment section is about to blow.
Okay, let's leave that issue aside for now, but in any case, in all three of those autonomous communities, Catalan is co-official with Spanish. Except in Valencia, where it's co-official with Spanish under the name Valencian. Oh man, this video just started and I've already got a headache. Catalan is also spoken in the tiny principality of Andorra, which is located in the Pyrenees Mountains and is bordered by France to the north and Spain to the south. Catalan is also spoken across the border in France, in the northern Catalonia region. Catalan is closely related to Occitan, which is spoken in areas of France adjacent to northern Catalonia. In the past, Catalan and Occitan were considered to be dialect groups of the same language, but they're now widely considered to be independent sister languages of the same Occitano-Romance branch. Catalan is also spoken in the town of Alghero in Sardinia, Italy. Catalan is spoken by over 10 million people, some of whom indisputably speak it as a native language, and some of whom speak another language at home, usually Spanish, but are also fluent in Catalan and speak it at a native level because of their environment. It's the sixth most spoken Romance language, after Spanish, Portuguese, French, Italian, and Romanian. It's also the most spoken non-state language in Europe, meaning that it's the most spoken language that's not an official language at the national level. That's because it's not official at the national level in Spain, even though millions of people speak it. It's only official in Andorra. Some people want it to be the official language of a new country called Catalonia that would be separate from Spain. Tell you what, you can just Google it. History. Like all Romance languages, Catalan developed from dialects of Vulgar Latin in areas that had been under the control of the Roman Empire. The earliest form of Occitano-Romance, known as Old Occitan or Old Provençal, had developed by the 8th century, and later some of its varieties began to diverge into Old Catalan between the 10th and 14th centuries. In the 12th century, the county of Barcelona, a Catalan county, formed a dynastic union with the Kingdom of Aragon, forming the Crown of Aragon, and other Catalan counties formed the Principality of Catalonia together with Barcelona, bringing them into the Crown. The Crown of Aragon expanded under the rule of James the Conqueror, who brought Valencia and the Balearic Islands under the Crown's control, and these became Catalan-speaking areas. The political capital of the Crown of Aragon was the city of Zaragoza, in the Kingdom of Aragon, but the de facto economic and cultural centers were Barcelona and Valencia, both Catalan-speaking cities. By the 14th and 15th centuries, the Crown of Aragon had greatly expanded to include Corsica, Sardinia, Sicily, and Naples, and for a brief time, Athens and Neopatras, in present-day Greece. There was a large Catalan commercial presence throughout the Mediterranean region, and the Catalan language became widespread, at least amongst the commercial class. Catalan was considered one of the great languages of Europe. But in 1479, the Crown of Aragon formed a union with the Crown of Castile, and Castilian, today also known as just Spanish or Español, began to grow in influence, and Catalan began to decline in influence. During much of the period from the 16th century to the 20th century, various laws were enacted that limited the use of Catalan in official documents, in publications, in administration, and in schools. But since 1975, it has been made co-official in Catalonia, Valencia, and the Balearic Islands, and in Catalonia, schools are now required to teach most subjects in Catalan. In Valencia, there's less instruction in Catalan, known officially there as Valencian, by the way, but there are current government efforts to increase it. In the Balearic Islands, at least 50% of the students' schooling must be conducted in Catalan, though there are also programs that are taught entirely in Catalan. All of the Catalan-speaking autonomous areas of Spain are bilingual, with Catalan speakers also being Spanish speakers. So, what's Catalan like? Once you learn one Romance language, you've already taken a great step towards understanding the others. If we look at a list of basic greetings in Catalan, there will definitely be some words that speakers of other Romance languages will recognize immediately. Good morning or good day.
Bon dia.
That sounds an awful lot like Portuguese bom dia and Spanish buenos dias. Good afternoon.
Bona tarda.
Compare that with Portuguese boa tarde and Spanish buenas tardes. Good evening or good night.
Bona nit.
Compare that with Portuguese boa noite and Spanish buenas noches. And in Italian, good night would be buonanotte. To say bye, you might say
Adeu.
compare that to Portuguese adeus, Spanish adios, and French adieu. And if you want to be more formal, you might say
A reveure.
compare that with French au revoir. Now let's look at some Catalan sentences and examine some of the language's basic features, many of which are quite similar to other Romance languages, but with some differences, of course.
El Josep és un bon professor.
This means Joseph is a good teacher.
El Josep és un bon professor.
Word for word, it's the Joseph is a good teacher. This sentence follows basically the same word order you would find in other Romance languages and in English, with one difference: the definite article el before the name Josep. In Catalan, a definite article is used before people's first names, and this is called the personal article. We'll come back to definite articles in a minute. This whole sentence is masculine singular. Like other Romance languages, Catalan nouns, articles, and adjectives are inflected for grammatical gender and number. Let's look at a similar feminine sentence.
La Isabel és una bona professora.
Isabel is a good teacher.
La Isabel és una bona professora.
Feminine nouns generally end in a, and the adjectives that modify them are inflected with a feminine ending a as well, while masculine nouns generally end in a consonant or an o or I. One other thing I want to point out here is that the letter R is silent in the final position in Catalan, so this word, professor, ends in a vowel sound. There are basically four definite articles. The singular forms are ul and la, which change to l with an apostrophe if the following word starts with a vowel or an h. The plural forms are uls and lus. For the personal article, there are the alternate forms un and na, n with an apostrophe before a vowel or an h. The indefinite articles are un, una, uns, and unas. The way articles work in Catalan is similar to in other Romance languages, but the forms are different, of course. And there are also some dialectal differences in Catalan articles. Another sentence.
Ella sempre dina molt tard.
This means she always has lunch very late.
Ella sempre dina molt tard.
Word for word, it's she always has lunch very late. One thing I'd like to point out right off the bat is this phrase,
Molt tard.
in Spanish it would be muy tarde. In Portuguese it would be muito tarde. In Italian it would be molto tardi, quite similar to the Catalan phrase. But in the other languages, words tend to end in vowels, especially in Italian. Words end in consonants much more often in Catalan. But also pay attention to the consonants at the end of these words. Here we see the simplification of final consonant clusters. T is often not pronounced after another consonant at the end of a word, especially in the combinations of LT, RT, NT, and ST. Sometimes it may be pronounced slightly or articulated but not released. And in final position, the letter D is pronounced as T, but similar to T, it's often silent or unreleased after another consonant. Simplification of final consonant clusters is a prominent feature of Catalan, but it does not always happen and it varies depending on the dialect. The speaker in the samples speaks a Central Catalan dialect. Here we have a personal pronoun as the subject of the sentence. This is actually not necessary. Catalan is a pro-dropped language, meaning that the subject pronoun can be dropped because person and number are clear from the verb conjugation. Like other Romance languages, Catalan has two types of personal pronouns: strong pronouns, which are used as subject pronouns and after prepositions, the only difference being in the first person singular, and there are weak pronouns, which are clitics that are used for the direct or indirect object. Catalan has more weak pronoun forms than other major Romance languages. Just a note about this word, dina. In this sentence, it's pronounced as dina, because in Catalan, D is pronounced as the soft the sound between vowels. Even though the D is in the initial position here, it is affected by the vowel at the end of the previous word. Dina is a regular verb, meaning to have lunch, and here it's conjugated in the third person singular for the present tense. Catalan has 3 categories of regular verbs, which are characterized by different endings. Verbs ending in AR, also known as the first conjugation, verbs ending in RE or ER, the second conjugation, and verbs ending in IR, the third conjugation. Verbs in each category have the same or similar conjugations. Another sentence.
M'ha donat els diners aquest matí.
This means he gave me the money this morning.
M'ha donat els diners aquest matí.
Word for word it's, to me, has given. The, masculine plural, money, this morning. The first word, m, is a weak pronoun, which is used for the indirect object here. This form of the pronoun, m apostrophe, comes before vowels and the letter h, while before consonants it's m, as in em. Notice that it comes before the verb. Adunat is the perfect form of the verb duna. The perfect form includes the auxiliary verb, ave, followed by the past participle. It's used for events in the recent past and events within time frames that are connected to now, like this month or this year. There are parallel tenses in other Romance languages, and Catalan's system of verb tenses in general is very similar to other Romance languages. Donat is another example of a Catalan word ending in a consonant where it would end with a vowel in other Romance languages. In Italian, this would be donato, and in Spanish, it would be donado. In Romanian, however, it would be donat. Next, notice the masculine plural definite article, because the word for money, dines, is plural. The word aquest is similar to Italian questa or Spanish and Portuguese esta, but notice that the S and T are pronounced differently. The S is silent and the T is not released. Mati is similar to Italian mattina or French matin. Coming back to the weak pronouns for a minute, what if we want to use a pronoun in place of els diners?
M'ho ha donat aquest matí.
The direct object, in this case o, meaning it, must come after the indirect object. Weak pronouns come after the verb in the case of imperatives, at least positive imperatives, gerunds, and infinitives. So the imperative sentence, give it to me, would be
Dóna-m'ho.
Another sentence.
Ell es va graduar fa 2 anys.
This means he graduated 2 years ago. Word for word it's, reflexive pronoun, he graduated, makes 2 years. Remember that the subject pronoun el is probably not necessary. Let's look at the end of this sentence first. This phrase here,
Fa 2 anys.
shows the use of the verb fe, meaning to make, to tell how much time has passed since an event happened. This is similar to how it would be expressed in Italian, 2 anni fa.
Es va graduar.
Is a past tense construction called the periphrastic past that is unique to Catalan. It consists of an auxiliary verb related to but not identical to the present tense of the verb anar, meaning to go, followed by a verb in the infinitive. The periphrastic past is identical in meaning to the simple past, which is now normally limited to literary use. Note that the reflexive pronoun in a different form can appear after the verb instead if it's an infinitive or an imperative or gerund. So this could also be
Va graduar-se.
and the whole sentence could be
Ell va graduar-se fa 2 anys.
This verb construction is somewhat surprising to me because it looks quite similar to the periphrastic future using ana.
Va graduar-se.
Means he is going to graduate, with va being the third person singular present tense of ana. This periphrastic future form is used less in Catalan than in some other Romance languages, probably because it resembles the periphrastic past. So instead, the simple future can be used.
Es graduarà.
He will graduate. In Catalan, you typically form the simple future tense by adding a suffix to the infinitive form, but for some irregular verbs there is a different future stem, not the infinitive. In general, the way that Catalan verbs are conjugated is quite similar to other Romance languages, except that the exact forms are somewhat different. With Western Romance languages in general, if you speak one or if you've studied one, then the other seems somewhat familiar right off the bat. But on the other hand, everything seems somewhat different as well. There's some different vocabulary, different phonology, some different grammatical features, and sometimes things are just expressed differently. Being previously unfamiliar with Catalan for the most part, what strikes me is that I notice features that are similar to Spanish, to French, to Italian, to Portuguese, and to Romanian. But I would never confuse it with one of those languages because it has its own unique elements as well. The question of the day. For speakers of Catalan, what other Romance languages do you find closest to Catalan? Can you communicate with Occitan speakers easily? Or Italian speakers, etc.? And for speakers of other Romance languages, how familiar does Catalan seem to you? What differences stand out to you? Special thanks to my friend Pablo, who helped with the audio samples for this video. He's from the Catalonia region of Spain, and he's fluent in Catalan, Spanish, English, Japanese, and I believe some other languages too, and he's a brilliant guy in general. If you're studying Spanish, or if you want to study Spanish, I recommend you check out his channel, Dreaming Spanish, where you can learn Spanish using his unique approach to language learning. So check it out. Be sure to follow LangFocus on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And once again, thank you to all of my amazing Patreon supporters, especially these ones because they are the best patrons in the world. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.